session is a really nice stretch and release session. This one is really good if you just had a really long day and you just want to move your body, you just want to kind of restore and feel really good. You don't need loads of props for this, but we are going to finish with that beautiful psoas release for relaxation at the end. So if you have a bolster, grab that, or if you don't have a bolster, just grab a load of cushions. This is where we want to prop our upper body up so that we can let our ribs relax down and just get a real nice release at the end of the session. Okay, and we're going to get started. It's a floor session. We're going to be staying down on the floor the whole time. So start by lying down on your back, with your knees bent and your feet flat on the floor. So we're just going to stay here first, just allowing our body to settle into the floor, letting your chest and shoulders roll open, allowing your pelvis to sink down. And let's just take some deep breaths, slowing your breath down. And then just take your arms out to the sides, kind of that T position-ish, or just kind of out nice and wide. Having the backs of your hands down on the floor. Just pausing here for a couple of breaths. Notice how that feels through your chest, through your shoulders. Again, see if you can roll chest and shoulders open so that we're really open and relaxed here. And then from here, keeping your hands on the floor as much as you can, we're just going to bend the elbows to kind of take our hands into that surrender position and then just kind of opening them out again. So it's just a little bend of the elbows, kind of in that surrender position or cactus position, and just going into that position and then arms kind of straightening out again. And just notice whether your hands are coming away from the floor, whether your wrists and your forearms are coming away from the floor. See if you can keep them down as much as possible, but don't create any tension there. So if they're really coming away and you're struggling, don't try and force it, but just be aware. Go and keep checking in that the chest and shoulders are open. I'm just going to do a couple more of these little cactus arms. And then as your arms kind of open out again into more of that T position, we're going to hold it there. Step your feet wide now. So step your feet wider than your mat, so feet are really wide, and then come up to your heels so that the rest of your foot's lifted and just the heels are in contact with the floor. And then roll your knees out wide, and then roll your knees in towards each other. Rolling the knees out wide and in towards each other. So we're just keeping the heels down. Just go nice and slow, checking in. How does it feel? Noticing how easy the movement is in your hip joints. Whether the legs feel like they're moving at the same speed. Does one want to go faster than the other? And just go nice and gentle. And then pausing there, we're going to bring those feet just back to hip width apart and allow those feet to go back flat on the floor. Feet flat, knees bent. And we're going to do those little arm angels now. So keeping the backs of the hands on the floor, keeping the arms fairly straight. We're going to take the arms up towards our head, just as high as they will go without the ribs lifting. And then just circling back out and down by your sides. You can make this movement as big or as small as you like. Try and keep the ribs from lifting, keep your back from arching. And you can soften this movement, you can have a little bend in your elbow. And it's often when your arms kind of get level with your shoulder, that's where the tension starts to creep in, where you start to really notice it. So we're just moving and hoping to gently release that tension, release any resistance there. And then as your arms come back out to the sides, let's just hold there. Take a moment again to roll your chest and shoulders open. And let's just pause again here, taking some deep breaths. Checking in with your body, see how it feels. Notice if there's any tension in your jaw, your neck, your shoulders, your face, anywhere that you tend to hold. And let's just see if we can find just a little bit more softness here. And then we're going to bring the arms up towards the sky. We're going to bring those palms together overhead. And we're just going to gently rub the palms together here. So just kind of rubbing those hands together, generating a little bit of heat, a little bit of friction on those hands. And then just pausing there. We're going to reach the hands up towards the sky, keeping the palms together. And reach those arms as far up towards the sky as you can. And then we're going to reach one arm higher than the other. So slide one palm up and reach as high as you can. And then allow that arm to come back down. And we're going to reach the other arm up. So you're kind of lifting one shoulder blade at a time away from the floor so that you can reach that one arm higher. Really nice and slow, controlled. How high can you reach that arm? And staying with this reaching of one arm and then the other, let's bring the hands apart now and just stay with that. So arms are going to be kind of maybe shoulder width apart, so that arm is kind of straight down to your shoulder rather than coming in towards the centre of your body. Arms are still facing in towards each other, but again we're reaching one arm at a time up towards the sky. Again, checking in, see how it feels, noticing any tension, noticing any resistance as you reach those arms. And then as your arm comes down this time, we're going to pause there. We're going to circle our wrists. So give those wrists a little circle. And circle the other way. Spread your fingers wide, get as much space between your fingers as you can, and then make little fists. And then spread your fingers wide and make little fists. Just do that a few times. And then wriggle all your fingers. And let's gently pull each finger in turn back to stretch out those fingers. When you've stretched all the fingers, give them a wriggle again. Let's circle the wrists again. Start to circle the elbows again. And just kind of moving your arms around, kind of circling. Just how much movement can you get in your hand, in your wrist, in your elbow, in your shoulder. Just move them all around. Maybe take them overhead, move them around overhead. overhead. Nice. Okay, and then we're going to bring our knees into our chest now. So bring those knees into your chest and let's just rock gently side to side. Let's have one hand on the top of each knee as we open the knees wide and circle those knees around. Can you reverse that circle and go the other way? Good. And then we're going to place one foot back down on the floor and we're going to straighten the other leg up towards the sky. Can you press your heel up towards the sky and pull the front of the foot towards you? Can you give your toes a little wriggle there? Can you point and flex your foot a few times? Can you circle your ankle? And circle it the other way. Good. And then just bending that leg back in, placing that foot down on the floor. Let's do the same on the other side. So taking the other leg up towards the sky. Again, flexing that foot, so pressing your heel away. Pulling the front of the foot towards you. Can you wriggle your toes? Can you point and flex your foot? Can you circle your ankle around? And go the other way. Good. And then bending that leg back in. So going back to your first leg, let's take that first leg back up towards the sky and flat foot. Imagine that you've got a little tea tray balanced on that foot. And we're going to see if we can bring that leg slightly across your body. So try and keep that foot as flat as you can. It will tilt, but just bring it across your body and then bring it back in through centre. And then switch legs, so the leg's going to go up towards the sky, flat foot. And bring that leg across. And again, you're trying to keep that flat foot as much as you can. And then bring it back into centre and lower it down. And we're going to keep going with this. We're going to keep switching sides. This time as you bring that leg across, you can let your hip lift. So letting that leg come across a little bit further. So the leg comes across and then the hip just lifts a little bit. And back in through centre. Keep switching sides. And we go as far as feels okay for you. Can you keep that flat foot? Good. And then as that leg comes back in this time, we're going to lower that leg down. And we're going to straighten our legs out long. Shuffle on that a little bit. And then take your feet wide, so wider than your mat. And take your arms out to that T position, so you're a little bit like a starfish. Rolling your chest and shoulders open here, and we're going to pause here for a few breaths. Checking in with your body, see how it's feeling. And then we're going to press our right heel really firmly into the floor. Press that right heel into the floor. Bring that right arm up towards the sky. And then start to bring that right arm across to try and find your left arm. But don't let that right foot lift off the floor. So we're just going to bring that arm across as far as you can. Like you're trying to get your palms to meet. And then we're going to take that arm back up towards the sky. And we're going to open out. And we're going to do the same on the other side. So left heel presses really firmly into the floor. Keep pressing the left heel into the floor. Bring the left arm up to the sky. And then bring that left arm across, trying to bring that left palm to meet your right palm, but keep the foot down on the floor. And then we're going to go back again. And we're going to keep switching sides here. So remember, we're really pressing the heel firmly into the floor, allowing our upper body to twist. And just notice, is it different one side to the other? I seem to be moving a lot more on one side compared to the other. And I'm hoping after we've done a few repetitions that it might start to get a little bit easier. Don't forget to really press that heel firmly into the floor. And then we're going to add on a little bit to this. So this time, as you press your heel into the floor and you bring that arm over, once that arm's come over as far as it can, you're going to start to roll onto your side. Can you bring that arm down, let that leg lift, and maybe roll all the way onto your front, kind of roll onto your belly. And then we're going to try and get back from here, which is a little bit difficult. So I'm going to take that bottom arm, kind of bring it more towards my head so I can rest my head on the arm. I'm going to lift that back leg, take that leg back, try and get the foot down on the floor first, and then roll back onto my back. Okay, it takes a bit of fiddling around with. Let's try the other side. So pressing the heel firmly into the floor first as you bring that arm across. Once that arm's come as far as it can, let your body start to roll, let that leg lift, and then roll onto your front. And then again, bringing that bottom arm kind of up towards your head so you can rest your head on it, lift that leg, and roll back. Get that foot down on the floor, and then roll back. Do that a few times. Really nice core move, kind of a little bit of a starfish twist. Sometimes your body can figure out to go one way and not so much the other, so just notice how well it's moving on both sides. You kind of end up rolling off your mat, don't you? One more time. And then as you roll onto your back this time, pause there in that starfish position. Take a couple of breaths. And then we're going to find the torpedo stretch. So bring your legs together, take your arms overhead and stretch from your fingertips to your toes. Make yourself as long as you can. And just take a couple of breaths here. And then just take the arms back out to that T position. And we're going to keep the legs out long. Okay, so we're going to bring one leg up towards the sky again. And we're going to have that foot flat. And we're going to let that leg come across your body again. Let it come a little bit further this time. Letting that leg come across, letting that hip lift. And then take that leg back up towards the sky. Switching sides, other leg comes up. Flat foot. Taking that leg across your body again. Let it go as far as feels okay for you. Come back up. And switching sides. So it's okay if it feels stretchy, it feels twisty, but we don't want to go beyond where our body's happy to go. So remember, we don't force anything. And it might be that you can get further on one side than the other. Maybe seeing if this time that leg will come all the way to the floor. Can you get your foot all the way to the floor? And then when you're ready, take it back. Try it on the other side. Will it go to the floor on both sides? It's a good stretch. Keep switching sides. Again, if going all the way to the floor just feels it's too much, that's okay. Just go to where it feels okay for you. Anybody else feel like they're walking off the mat, feel like I've shuffled off the end of my mat, coming back up? So, as you take your leg to the floor this time, pause when it gets down on the floor, and then let the arm come as well. Bring the arm over and bring the hands together. And then take the arm back first. And then take the leg back. Let's try that on the other side. So, leg first, get that leg all the way to the floor if it will go. Once the leg's down on the floor, let's bring the arm as well. And then opening the arm out. And then bringing the leg back. Really nice. So playing around with this a few times. It's kind of nice to just roll around on the floor sometimes. Arm first goes back, then the leg. You'll feel like you've been wrung out by the end. So good. And then as you come back onto your back this time, just lower that leg down. Bending those knees, let's have feet flat, knees bent, but take your feet to the edges of your mat. And let's do our windscreen wiper legs. Both knees are going to roll to one side and then over to the other. Let's do a few little windscreen wipers. Alright, we're going to go back to that movement, see if we can go all the way onto our front from that. So, arms out in that T position, legs out long. So let's again bring the leg up towards the sky, flat foot. So the leg's going to come across first, down to the floor. Then we're going to bring the arm up and over. And then can you roll onto your front from here? So you kind of have to push that leg out of the way and you kind of end up in a bit of a front starfish position. And again, we're going to take that bottom arm, bring it up towards your head. That's going to make it a little bit easier. If you need to use your arm to press into the floor to lift that leg first, absolutely fine. Take that leg back and just flop back onto your back. Let's try the other side. So leg up first, flat foot. Leg comes all the way to the floor. Arm follows. Once that arm's down, then again you're going to see if you can roll onto your front, kind of like a front starfish. And then again, do what you need to do with your arms to help you come back onto your back. And it might not be pretty, and that's okay. It's just all about moving your body, finding different ways to move. Once the arm and the leg's down, press that leg away, rolling onto your front. Bring that arm up so you can rest your head. Again, using that arm to bring that leg up, taking that leg back. Heavy leg will drag your body. Let's do one more time. And as you lower your leg down this time, we're going to bend those knees in again. We're going to go feet wider than the mat again, onto your heels again, like we did before. And we're going to roll the knees in towards each other, and then knees wide. Knees in and out. Good. And then let the soles of your feet come down. You might want to bring the feet in just a little bit closer, and then let the knees come into touch. And we're going to just stay here and pause for a few breaths. If you want to adjust your feet and bring them a little bit closer, just so that you can be completely relaxed, that's fine. Keeping those arms out in that kind of T position, it can be a very soft T. Those arms can have a little bend in them. Take a moment again here to roll your chest and shoulders open. And to scan through your body again, checking in, making sure that there's nowhere that you're gripping and holding tension. And seeing if you can just find a little bit of softness here. Okay, we're going to bring our knees in towards our chest now. I want you to think about crossing one leg over the other. So just kind of cross your legs over and then cross them over the other way. I'm going to do this a few times, just crossing the legs over, crossing the legs over. So really nice little hip stretch as you cross the legs, stretching out that hip. And now we're going to still keep crossing over, but we're going to cross over in more of a number 4 stretch. So we're going to cross the ankle over the knee and then switch the other side, ankle over the knee. So we're just going to keep going, just keep moving with this little number 4 stretch. Good. And as you cross your ankle over your knee this time, hold there. Let's just hold that in the air for a couple of breaths. And then we're going to allow the supporting foot to come back down to the floor. Keeping that number 4 stretch position here, hold. And then we're going to roll to bring the sole of the foot that's floating in the air down onto the floor. So roll those legs down, get the sole of the foot down onto the floor. And try and keep your knee pointing up towards the sky rather than letting it drop towards you. If this is too much, you can always just go into a spine twist. Or you could actually bolster that foot. You could actually put something under that foot to bring that leg up higher, like a block or a ball or a bolster, something, if it just feels like it's a little bit too much for you. And we've still got our arms in that T position. And we're going to hold here for a few breaths. Two more deep breaths here. And then we're going to roll onto our back. So if you need to, you can bend your elbows so that you can press your elbows into the floor to help roll you onto your back. And we're going to switch the legs over, so crossing the other ankle over your knee this time. Finding that number 4 stretch on this side. And again, we're going to just float those legs up so that we're in that kind of floating number 4 position. And we're going to hold here for a few breaths. Allowing that supporting leg to find the floor again. And we're going to again roll onto our side, bringing the sole of the foot down onto the floor. Knees still pointing to the ceiling and arms around in that T position. It might feel completely different one side to the other, so don't be afraid to bolster that foot or to go into a spine twist if that's just not right for you on this side. And then again, we're going to roll onto our backs. If you need to bend your elbows, to press your elbows in to bring you back into that number 4 position. And then do that. Releasing those legs. Let's take the feet wide again. Back onto your heels, rolling the knees in and out. Allowing the soles of the feet to come down into our windscreen wipers, so both knees are rolling to one side and then the other.
our cobbler stretch. So we're going to bring the soles of the feet together and let those knees roll out to the sides. And we're going to start to move with this cobbler stretch. So take a deep breath in here. And as you exhale, we're going to bring the knees back up towards the sky, bringing the knees in towards each other. And then as you inhale, we're going to open the knees wide. Exhale as the knees come together. Inhale as you open wide. So just going with the flow of your breath. And remember, this is one of the releases where you will often get those little tremors in your legs. It's just your body's way of releasing that deep tension. So if you do start to tremor a little bit, that's okay. Just keep going. Good, and then as you open those knees out this time, we're going to again stay there in that cobbler stretch. So remember, with the cobbler stretch, we really want to be opening out our hips. We want to be releasing tension through the inner thighs. But if it makes you grip, if it's too much for your hips, you can always put a cushion under the outside of your thighs so that your thighs can kind of rest on something. You could even put your hands there or a little fist there and let your legs rest on those so that it's not creating tension. We're always trying to release rather than create any tension. And if this cobbler stretch just feels easy and comfortable and a happy place for you, we'll take it a little bit deeper. So let's take it to the next step. Instead of having the soles of the feet together, we're going to cross one ankle over the other. So it's like you're trying to cross your legs. I'll just turn so that you can see. So I've just got one ankle crossed over the other. I really like my arms kind of in this T position on this. But if you don't like that, feel free to have your arms wherever feels comfortable to you. You can have them overhead. Ooh, overhead is nice. I'm going to keep mine overhead for a while. So just find where your arms want to be, where you can be most relaxed. And where you can take those deep breaths. And every so often just scanning through your body, noticing any gripping, noticing if you're holding anywhere, and seeing if you can let that go. We're going to cross our legs the other way, so crossing the other ankle over this time, and that might really change the stretch for you. If at any point it just doesn't feel right, just go back to soles of the feet together, or go into a spine twist, or just do what your body's telling you it wants to do. We're going to come out of the cobbler stretch for a minute, but we are going to go back in again. So bringing the knees up towards the ceiling again. Taking the feet wide, soles of the feet flat on the floor, feet as wide as your mat. Let's go back to windscreen wipers, both knees rolling from one side to the other. Let's just get a little bit of movement into those hips, just to stop us from gripping if we're releasing tension and then your body's like not ready to do that and it starts to create more tension. So sometimes it's nice to just come out and have a little move around. My mat's snoring again. Okay, so we're going to go back to cobbler again. So we've done soles of the feet together, we've done ankles crossed. So this time we're going to start to sneak the foot up the shin a little bit. So we're bringing it up a little bit higher and then letting those knees drop out to the side. Maybe coming halfway up your shin might be enough for you. Maybe you can get your foot all the way up to kind of the bend of your knee, like the crook of your knee, and maybe that feels okay for you. So see where it wants to be. And then again, just letting those knees roll open. And don't forget, if you need to, you can always bolster. You can put something under your hips. And if it's too much, just go back to ankles crossed or soles of the feet together. There's no rush to progress any of these movements. It's just about playing around with movements in your body and seeing what feels right for you right now. So we've done that one way, we need to try on the other side. So switching the legs over, so the other foot this time is going to come up to wherever you can reach, wherever it feels like that's okay. Alright, and then when you're ready, release those legs. Lengthen those legs out long. Take your arms overhead again and stretch from your fingertips to your toes. Make yourself as long as you can. And we're going to take it into our present stretch from here. So keeping those arms and legs out long. Walk your legs, let's go to the right. Walk your legs to your right. And then walk your arms and upper body also to your right. So you're getting that lengthening down your left side. Stay there if that's enough. Or cross your left ankle over your right. With your right hand, you can grab your left wrist and just give it that little extra stretch. Here though, just being mindful that you're not arching your back and flaring those ribs up. And if you are, put something under your head. You can pop a little cushion or something under your head to allow those ribs to relax back down. We want to find a true side bend here rather than it being like a roll onto your side. Let's focus on taking those deep breaths, expanding that rib cage on your left side, using the breath to create more space. And then we're going to come out of this, so we're going to release the arms first. Uncross your legs, walking your legs back in through centre. We're going to do the same on the other side. So walking your legs to your left this time. Arms up and overhead, and then walking your arms and your upper body also to your left. Stay there if you want to. Or cross your right ankle over, and with your left hand grabbing that right wrist and just giving it that little extra stretch. Again, checking that we're not rib thrust in and we're trying to keep our ribs and our shoulder blades down on the floor. Again, using our breath, filling out the right side of your rib cage, giving us more space. And then when you're ready, release the arms again first. Walking the legs back in through centre, moving slowly as you bend the knees one at a time. And then bring your knees into your chest. Give your knees a little hug and just rock gently side to side. make our way over onto our hands and knees next. So when you're ready, find yourself onto hands and knees. And we're going to have fingers spread wide, thumbs pointing towards each other and elbow pits forwards. We're going to do our cat-cow here. So when you're ready, tuck your bottom under and really round your back, rolling up your spine, letting your head be the last thing to move. And then when you're ready, go the other way. You're going to stick your bottom out. Again, rolling through your spine. Imagine you can bring your chest through your arms and your head is the last thing to move. So just go between those two positions. At your own pace, moving with your breath, however that makes sense to your body. Nice and slow. And then pause in there. We're going to take it into our thread the needle from here. So one hand, palm faces up, it's going to thread behind your opposite wrist, twisting your upper body around to bring your ear and your shoulder down towards the floor. And then the supporting hand, if you want to, can reach towards that front end of your mat to give you even more stretch through your shoulders and your upper back. Let's hold here for 3 really big breaths. And then we're going to open it out to the sky. So when you're ready, bring that supporting hand back in. We're going to press into that hand to allow us to come through. And we're going to keep twisting our upper body, taking that arm up towards the sky, looking up towards that hand, just pausing for a moment. And then taking that hand back through, we're going to thread again down towards your knee and diagonally down. And again, that supporting hand can reach to the front of your mat if that feels like that's good for you. And again, 3 big breaths here. When you've done your 3, we're going to open out to the sky again. So when you're ready, bring the supporting hand back in. Pressing into that hand so that you can twist and open out up towards the sky again. Just pausing for a moment. And then take that hand again down. We're going to thread it behind the wrist, but diagonally up and forwards. And again, reaching that free arm if you want to. 3 breaths. When you've done your 3, one last time on this side, we're going to open out, up towards the sky. Pause just for a moment and then placing that hand down. And we're going to do exactly the same on the other side. So the other hand is going to thread through, twisting your upper body around, bringing your shoulder, your ear towards the floor. And then that supporting hand, if you want to, can reach forwards. And holding here for 3 big deep breaths. When you've done your 3, you're going to open out to the sky again. Supporting hand comes back in, presses into the floor, allowing you to twist and open out to the sky. And then hand comes back down, threads just in front of your knee, diagonally down. Supporting arm reaches, 3 breaths. When you're ready, open out. Pause just for a moment. And then again, threads behind your wrist, diagonally up and forwards. And that free arm can reach. 3 big breaths. And then when you're ready, open out
like that last time on this side. Reach. And then placing that hand down. Back onto your hands and knees again. And we're just going to do that waggle. You're just going to move your head, move your tail, move your spine. You can kind of circle, you can wag side to side. Just moving your spine in all the ways. How much movement can you get there? Can you kind of circle your body around, maybe? Just moving. And then from here we're going to go into our child's pose. So taking your bottom back towards your heels and reaching your arms as far forwards as you can. Allowing your body to sink down deep into the floor. And take some deep breaths here. Right, and then when you're ready, just coming up and out of that. So we're going to go into our psoas release next. So grab your cushions or your bolster, whatever you've got. If you've got a bolster, you might also want a cushion. I'm going to use a half down. And you want to have yourself supported so that your shoulder blades are on your bolster or your cushions, but the very back of your rib cage is free. So let's kind of have a play around with this. And you get your shoulder blades just on your bolster or your cushions. So you might want your head up a little higher and then lengthen your legs out long. And what we're trying to do here is relax our back. If you imagine that your back is a little bit like a hammock, and it's fastened or it's supported by the bolster or the cushions where the shoulder blades are, and then obviously your pelvis is down on the floor, so your lower back is kind of suspended between those 2 points, and we want that back to start to sink down towards the floor like a little hammock, so your ribs can relax down. You can have your legs rolled out wide if you want to, have them just wherever is comfortable for you. Want your head to be comfortable, so if you feel like your head is kind of tilting back the other way, get something under your head. And then let's take the arms down on the floor by our sides. You can have palms facing up again so that you can roll your chest and shoulders open. And with each exhale, I want you to imagine that you're sinking down deeper. Imagine there's a little weight on your rib cage, just pressing gently down. That little feeling of heaviness, creating that sensation of sinking down, like your back's trying to touch the floor. Close your eyes. Softening your body, no tension. We don't need to grip and hold anywhere here. Our body is fully supported, so we can just relax and let go. Notice any frown lines in your forehead. Do you have those little frown lines between your eyebrows? Can you soften your forehead? Let your eyes relax. So closing your eyes is the easiest way to just let those eyes relax. Imagine that your eyes are heavy and they're sinking down. Heavy eyes. Letting all the muscles of your face relax. Let your jaw relax. Let your teeth come slightly apart. And allow your tongue to rest against the roof of your mouth. Let your neck and shoulders relax. Soften your elbows. Soften your wrists. Soften your hands. If you've got little
fists, just let your fingers unfurl and just let them be wherever they want to be. You don't have to fight to straighten out your fingers, just let them be where they are. Keep finding that sensation of the ribs sinking down. Your belly can be relaxed. Don't need to hold any tension in your abdominals. Bottom can be relaxed. Let your legs relax. Those thighs can just be heavy, sinking down into the floor. Imagine that with each exhale, your thighs are sinking down. Soften your knees. Soften your ankles. Soften your feet. Your toes. And we're just going to stay here for a few breaths. Psoas release position is probably one of the most beneficial releases that you could do for your body. And if you could do this every day, it would make a big difference to your posture, to your back, to the health of your hips. Everything's connected, everything needs that little bit of release. So this is just an ideal position. If you could spend 10 minutes a day here, it would be amazing. It's remembering and taking that little bit of time out for yourself, isn't it? We're not very good at doing that. So if you want to stay here a little bit longer or a lot longer, then you absolutely can. I'm going to switch the video off in a moment, so feel free to stay here. But when you are ready to come out of the psoas release, you just need to wriggle your fingers and your toes a little bit first, just inviting a little bit of movement back into your body. And always coming out of these releases where we've been here for a while, really slowly. So again, you might want to stay here for a bit longer. But when you do come out of it, I invite you to move your bolsters, your cushions away, so that you can lie down fully flat on the floor. And just notice how your body feels before you decide to get up and move on with whatever you're going to do with the rest of your day. So thank you so much for being here and for joining me. And I'm going to leave you in your rest position, in your psoas release, or just kind of in that starfish position on the floor. And I'll see you really soon.